I apologize, something's wrong
with my soundboard. I keep on getting robotic voice. Well, anyway. Little distraction. So, the shopping experience in the USSR, in Russia, was getting better, much better. It was evolving. And the kiosks were mostly gone, and guess what? They were outlawed back in 2011. Whoa, I thought that horrible remaining of the USSR was gone forever, but boy, was I wrong. The kiosks are back in 2023. And not only they're back, they are back with a big bang. You know, this time Russian government mandates to have kiosks. Howdy, howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin, giving you daily news updates, things that happening in Russia, current events that I find important, my takes, my views. Usual Russia explained by the unusual Russian. You know, some people are saying that the Soviet Union is coming back in the future. Well, no wonder. Vladimir Putin himself said many times that he thinks that the worst tragedy of the 20th century was not World War I, not World War II with millions, tens of millions of lives lost, but the destruction of the USSR, even though it was bloodless. And people are saying, you know what? Russia is taking steps to go back into the USSR. I beg to differ. I don't think we're going back into the USSR. I think we are back into the USSR already, big time. Well, what was the USSR? In a nutshell, it was a system where government regulated people's lives. Government mandated everything that people could and could not do. It forced people to do things and they didn't care whether people liked it or not. These are signs of the Soviet system, and they are back already in Russia. They can be seen here and there. And let me give you one of such signs. There are, well, in my streams, I never make up things. I give you facts. I based my stream on facts, or I always quote Russian officials, Russian politicians, you know. I returned to Uzbekistan today, and I was very, very shocked to learn that one of the key ministers said yesterday, well, actually, he said it in the form of a letter, recommendation letter to the heads of Russian provinces, and this fact just came up yesterday, but it's pretty interesting. So let me quote the letter of Denis Manturov, the Minister of Industry and Trade of Russian Federation, the Vice Prime Minister of Russian Federation. Let me tell you, that guy is not small potatoes. He is big, very important, very known in the system of Russian government. He's been in charge of things for a long, long time. So Denis Manturov usually means business. His words are not to be laughed at. So Denis Manturov, in the letter from the Ministry of Trade recommended that the heads of the regions organize work on opening kiosks and other non-stationary trade facilities for goods of Russian manufacturers at the entrances of shopping centers, shops, and stores. Such a recommendation was signed by the minister, Denis Manturov, on January 11th, 2023, not too long ago, and it was sent to the heads of Russian provinces. So the official letter from the ministry. The letter states that the federal government proposed to use the consumer traffic of large shopping malls, stores, and shops to promote the products of domestic small and medium-sized businesses and place non-stationary shopping facilities such as pavilions, kiosks, tents, stalls, car counters, etc. at the entrances of such trade facilities. Manturov recommended providing a wide range of entrepreneurs with places for trading at shopping malls and shops, at the entrances of shopping malls and shops. Producers of agricultural food products, textiles, clothing, footwear, etc. It is proposed to do so without bidding on preferential terms or free of charge. The press service of the Ministry of Industry and Trade stressed that the document is advisory in nature. The schemes of placement of non-stationary retail facilities should be developed and approved by local governments. The press service department clarified, adding that the placement is supposed to be outside on municipal land. Although the proposal sent to the heads of provinces is positioned as a recommendation, the document clearly states that by July 1st, 2023, in 5 months, the provincial authorities must submit a report to the Ministry of Industry and Trade with the attachment of photographs of non-stationary retail facilities located near the entrances to shops, stores, and shopping centers. So, my friends, this is real. I mean, just think about that. A letter comes from the federal government body, not just a body, but one of the key ministries, the Ministry of Industry and Trade. That's very, very important ministry, very important body of the government, saying that we recommend that you somehow organize non-stationary trading facilities, trade facilities, kiosks, tents, car counters, and let entrepreneurs to let business people to sell things using non-stationary trade facilities, in front of shopping malls. Okay, this is a recommendation, but by July 1st, you must give us the proof that you have done that with photographs and explanations. How about that? You know what? Who is this guy, Denis Manturov? Well, I told you he's the minister, one of the key ministers in Russia, but let's take a closer look. What is this minister is responsible for? To name a few most important responsibilities of his ministry, he's in charge of creating regional and industrial policy for different provinces, in charge of creating industrial parks, industrial clusters, and tax-free zones, in charge of sports industry, metallurgical, mining, chemical, pharmaceutical, biotechnological, medical, light forestry and electronics industries, mechanical engineering and automotive industries, military industrial complex, energy saving and increase of energy efficiencies in industries, marine engineering and shipbuilding industry, aviation equipment and aviation industry, experimental aviation, communications industry, radio industry, industry of ammunition, special chemicals, chemical disarmament, conventional arms industry, technical regulation and ensuring the uniformity of measurements, foreign and domestic trade, catering to consumer and consumer services, exhibition and fair activities, and trade representation of Russia abroad. This is big deal. This guy is in charge of everything. When I talk about the economy, and anyone talks about the economy, we usually say, you know what, Russian industry has increased by 3% or has decreased by 5%. This guy is the face behind that increase or decrease, behind the numbers. If we say, oh, Russian economy has grown, then we mean this guy. If we say, oh, economy has, Russian industry has grown, the Russian industry has shrunk, this guy's fault, you know? Well, partially is his fault, you know. It means that he hasn't done a good job. So this guy is hugely important. He's one of the key people of Russian government. No wonder he's made vice prime minister of Russian Federation. Okay? And what do we see? Where is his focus? On developing industries and developing trade of Russian Federation? Well, how can he develop trade these days, you know? That's out of the question. But look, this guy is focusing on his ministry mandating local authorities, you know, in the provinces to open kiosks that in the future might replace shopping centers, stores, and shops. That clearly shows you where the focus of the government, what the government has its focus onto. You know, some people say, well, you know what? Nonsense. He said nonsense. Don't even think about this letter. Well, you know what? Not nonsense. Because people in position of his, they never say or write or sign any nonsense. Every single word that comes out of their mouth or every single signature that is on paper is a big deal. Okay? It's the same thing when I was arguing with people saying, hey, you know what? We are under threat of big mobilization, military mobilization back in the summertime, in July and August. And you know what some people were telling me back? Nonsense. You're exaggerating. Nothing like that's going to happen because Vladimir Putin told us, clearly promised that there will be no mobilization. He promised in public on March 8th. You know, what are you talking about? It's nonsense. You know, things like that, I take them seriously, all right? So I take the words of this guy very seriously, and I think that it clearly shows where his focus and where the government's focus on, okay? The focus is to create even more control, to seize even more control on every single area of Russian people's lives, okay? Just like that system in the USSR was. This is the goal. Not just whatever they state their goals are, but to seize and have complete and absolute control. There are still some freedoms that Russians have left. For example, if you are in a trading business, right, and if you have a shopping center, this is your business. What kind of stores, brands to let into your shopping center? You know, no one can mandate you to take one company or refuse another company. Well, actually, no one could until now. Denis Manturov, so-called recommending shopping centers to do that. It's not a recommendation, clearly. It's a double speak, because they say we recommend, but by July 1st, you must give us the evidence you've done, or else. Okay? What kind of recommendation is that? So, and then local authorities, the next step they will say, yes, we will do that. And then they will go to shopping centers and they will start opening kiosks right next to shopping centers. Or they will oblige to shopping centers to bear responsibility opening kiosks and stuff like that. So this is like old USSR, and it's already in place. So this is the first step, and the next step, somehow they will take over shopping centers. They will control, not they're gonna be owning them, but they will take control, and they will be controlling who, how much to charge, who to sell from, what manufacturers can enter shopping. So basically, they will control shopping in Russia completely. There's a very good book. I recommend everyone to read it. It's called Atlas Shrugged. It's an American classic written by Ayn Rand. It just describes the situation just like that. It was written 100 years ago. And basically, it's about Russia in 2022 and in 2023. But what really scares me, how fast Russia has nullified all it had achieved in terms of free market economy in the last 30 years, and how fast it has gone back into the USSR. Thank you so very much. That has been my message for today. Before turning on the comments, I would like to ask you to do two things. First, help spread my message by making reposts in social media accounts. And second, sign up for my Telegram channel called Inside Constantine's Russia. The link is in the description below live stream. After I will be done live streaming, it'll be there. Thank you so very much. I would like to turn on the comments and converse with you, because this is the first day that I'm back home, my new home, my temporary home, whatever, Uzbekistan. I'm back from my little vacation in Dubai, and I'm back to streaming every day. Sorry about this little mishap with sound. Robotic was, don't you love it? I hope it didn't interfere bad enough. The comments are on. Before I start, I'll tell you that I'm having a brand new tea. First time in my life I'm having this blend. It's called Yorkshire Gold, and it's made by Tailors of Harrogate. I brought it from Dubai because it's nowhere to be found in Uzbekistan, and this is pretty good stuff. Wonderful tea. Gives you a punch. Let me jump right into the comments. Mommy, Lorna, Black Cat, Bob, Amir, Harry. If you're here, I'm not seeing Amir and Harry, but I'm pretty sure they are gonna be around near sometime. Mods, I just want to let you know you're the best mods there are on the internet. Thank you so much. And it's great to see the usual suspects. Thank you for coming back and giving me a chance, listening to my message and seeing me speak and conversing. I see quite a few questions. If you want me to notice your comment or question easier and to answer it, please put it in caps and put inside Russia after @ so it appears in a large orange box. Much easier for me to see. Thank you so very much. So, usual suspects, howdy, howdy. And the first question is from Bruno. Greetings to Constantine, all mods from Belgium. Well, it's not a question, it's a greeting, but it's in caps. Thank you so much, Bruno. Appreciate it. Sam K, howdy, howdy. Bob. Koshkin Dom from Norway, howdy. Tom W. Mario Duran. Brother Randall. Lassie, hello from Sweden. Justeri. Tom W. How's my goals? Goals are good. SF Joe, howdy howdy from California. Did you get Apple fixed? Well, I'm on the way. Joe, I left it in Dubai and I arranged for someone to pick it up and somehow pass it to me. But I'll talk about that later. I did not have a good experience with Apple Store at Dubai Mall. I'll tell you about that. Not a big deal, but not a great experience like I had with everything else Apple. Mark Bramlett, howdy howdy from sunny Florida. We need that, Mark, because in Tashkent it's wicked cold and it's cold outside and it's cold inside. You know, Natasha and Michael are sleeping dressed right now because it's really freaking cold inside. Jeffrey S., howdy. Mr. K, I sure hope my proxy sweetheart does not have to stand in line. Well, folks, Jeffrey S. is a great guy. He gives great advice on everything except for dating. So don't take his dating advice. Lando Plenty, I thought you were going for that 80s robot sound in the message. Thank goodness that Natasha was listening to the stream. The thing is, something happened to my sound processor, and I don't really know what. And it started frantically switching on and off the robotic voice. Pamela J, howdy howdy. Best start ever, DeVito. Brother Randall, I hope your mother is doing well. She's doing very well, thank you. There are a couple super chats from Brian Struvig. Thank you so much, Brian. No message, but super chat is a very powerful message. Thank you, appreciate it. And from Caesars, a note, these open-air marketplaces were quite popular in Eastern Europe before the internet shopping era. Is internet shopping retreating in Russia? That's a great question. There is a big difference between what you had in Eastern Europe and what we had in Russia. In Eastern Europe, like if you go to any major city, you will find, let's say Prague, I've seen those things in Prague. You see, you don't rely on these kiosks for your everyday life, okay? The only things I've seen are fruits and vegetables. But then again, in Prague, you go and it's real nice because there are standards. There's municipalities. They watch how these kiosks look like. It's pleasant shopping experience. But if you want like apparel, you don't go to a kiosk. You go to a shopping mall. If you want, or internet shopping. If you want to buy like regular food, like milk, I don't know, staples, you don't go to kiosk because you know what? These people, not just kiosk, but like they saying about the car, tents. Anyone with a tent comes by, sells you stuff, and leaves. Okay, it doesn't give you a receipt or anything like that. And then what you gonna do when you get poisoned, food poisonous, or a thing that you buy just falls apart. What do you do then? So it's not mainstream shopping. Okay, it's like fancy things usually are sold in kiosks and in tents. But in Russia it was different. Mainstream. Anything. Alcohol, cigarettes, food, like regular food. Conditions in the summertime, it's hot, the food gets spoiled. In the winter, it's wicked cold inside, it's really bad for a person who sells. And this is how it was. I hated those kiosks, okay? They were the sign that, I don't know, sign of just misery. When I got to the United States, I could not believe. And basically, the Western world has same standard, I just came back from Dubai, same thing. I can't believe how nicely everything was organized, was regulated, was well taken care of, and things like that. So don't misunderstand the Russian kiosks and the Eastern European kiosks. Completely different. Didzis Baitlers, thank you so much. Again, it's no message, but the super chat is a hugely popular message, and it's a huge super chat. Thank you so very much. Damien da Silva, the usual suspect, and the person who has fantastic questions. Hello, my friend. We have friends who fled Russia years ago and are against the war, but when they mention Crimea, it seems like they believe it's Russian. Is this what Russians truly believe? Crimea question again. Crimea used to be Russian, like historically Russian land. It was part of Russian Empire. It was fought. There are two wars were fought with the Turkish because it belonged to Turks before. And then the second war, Russians signed a peaceful treaty and the Crimea became Russian. A lot of Russians do consider Russian land. When my father was born in Crimea in 1952, Crimea was Russian. It belonged to Russia, not Ukraine. The Ukraine was a republic within USSR, and Russia was also a republic. So back then, Crimea belonged to Russia. Okay, and then Khrushchev gave it to Ukraine, I believe in 1955. It doesn't really matter because there's an international law, and all countries, all republics, when the Soviet Union was disintegrating, they all agreed to respect everyone's border, okay, including the border of Ukraine. And for 23 years, Russia respected the borders of Ukraine, and it admitted that Crimea was Ukrainian. Plain and simple. And we don't need to go further than that. I don't really care who thought what or who thinks what. There's an international law, and if international law stops working, there'll be chaos. Complete, absolute chaos. So, according to the law, Crimea belongs to Ukraine, and that's it. Okay? If Russia had claims or has claims for Crimea, most likely, from what I understand, it needs to create a case and go to international body that resolves disputes, conflicts, and present the case, and then rely on decision by the international community. Okay, plain and simple. So, hopefully, I answered your question. Black Cat, thank you so much for giving the sponsorship to 5 people. Thank you. Thank you very much, friend. And a question from Bob Brennan. Konstantin, did you say you're a Cossack? I would like to hear your comments about Cossacks sometimes. I am a Cossack. Well, not currently a Cossack, but my ancestry, they come from the Cossacks. My mom's... Well, this is how it went. My grandpa and grandma, my grandma's side on my mom's side, was Cossacks for generations. Very, very, shouldn't say important, but the heads of certain parts of this Cossack state that existed in the Don region for like hundreds of years. My grandpa's side, they come from Ukraine. Therefore, my mom's maiden name is Ukrainian. So I was influenced a great deal by my grandmother, who grew up a Cossack, and she wasn't teaching me, but she was kind of like giving me this culture when I was spending time with her when I was a kid. She was deeply religious. I think I got the faith in God from her. Like, no one taught me. Perhaps it's by example. I don't know what happened, but I remember myself praying when I was around 5 years old, something like that. I still I still have lots of very distant relatives living near Rostov in a Cossack village. It's easy to spot them because they all bear the same last name. There used to be a Cossack's capital, Starocherkassk, and one of the villages right next to it. So, I mean, all in all, my ancestry on my grandma's side was Cossack, like big time. What would you like to hear about that? Question from Alisha Kolta. By why kiosks? They could take over the shops directly. Good question. I don't think... You see, I think they work by stepping stones. They're smart people. If they take over shops directly, that would stir up the society a great deal. That'd be a social unrest, saying the government is poking its nose to where it's not supposed to. But first, they establish, they kind of like get the first, how do you say it, first foot in the door. They establish a small step, they take another step, and before you know it, they don't own the shops, but they control through applying policies, laws, regulations, rules. That's what I think. That's where they are aiming at. Brian, thank you so much. Steve Kirby missed the first part. Why did you bring all those cables back from Dubai? Well, I guess you couldn't guess. Tomorrow I will write the answer in the Patreon post and in the sponsorship, in the community section. Basically, I made two posts for patrons and for sponsors. I had two pictures of what I brought back from Dubai, and it's a little riddle, like why I brought these things. Tomorrow, I'm gonna give the answers, not right now. Thanks for the laugh at the beginning. Marilyn, that's embarrassing, that's what it is. Weird robotic voice. Battlestar Galactica inside Russia. Yep. Blue-Eyed Wolf. I remember seeing some of those kiosks in Moscow. Depressing little things. They were. I hated them because those, to me, they were the sign of bad life and misery. Somehow they look something like just like deprivation. I know. They're mandating to get the kiosks back. Oh, the mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, you know, every person has good and bad in him or her. And so it goes same for Sergei Sobyanin. His good is that he banned kiosks. He made a law in Moscow banning kiosks whatsoever. He got rid of all of them, their maintenance. It was a great step. Okay, I just can't believe they're bringing the kiosks back. Unbelievable. Amir, did you get the chargers at a kiosk? Well, it was a large kiosk. It was a Apple Store kiosk, in Dubai Mall. It's a huge kiosk. Al Berry, actually a very good observation. 5-year plans are next. It is very possible. Very possible. You see, it depends on what happens in Ukraine. There are two possibilities. First possibility, things will go so wrong. I don't know, something bad happens inside military, or the generals all of a sudden decide that they'll need more power, and you know what I mean. Or perhaps Ukrainians will push too far and too fast, and Russians will regroup very fast, things like that. So that's going to be something radical. But the second possibility, second option is nothing. If nothing radical happens, in Western nicht Neues, just like in World War One, there will be a front that wouldn't be moving anywhere, just standing there. And Russian leadership, current leadership, will remain in power, which I don't think it'll be. I think things will change. But if they will remain in power, then most likely they will be introducing something like 5-year plans or 3-year plans or something like that. You just wait and see. Terry, thank you so much. Rachel Rannon, who's going to man these kiosks, and will they be owners or employees? At this point, it's not clear. The letter was very vague, and it leaves lots of room to maneuver for the local authorities to, to abuse a little bit or a lot, if you know what I mean. Jeffrey S., thank you for information. Well, he's on and off. Andreas Benz, hello, it goes all in plan. The plan is back in the USSR. Well, it starts looking at like I said, we are already back in USSR in many, many ways. Bob Gnerly, thank you so much. Bob, may the fallen economy stop this war? Definitely, it may. Not only may, I think it will stop the war because, well, obviously, if you don't have resources, everything falls apart. And everything falls apart, you are in trouble. Like, if you're a decision maker, we'll wait and see. But I think it'll happen. Rudy Kaisley, I'm so angry with the German government regarding release of tanks to Ukraine. They are fudging up rights of other nations to send tanks they buy. Okay, thank you. That's not a question. That's a statement. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much. Another support. 70. Is it South African money? Thank you. I missed. That was a good question. My chat jumped and I missed it. That's too bad. A plus Russian is here. Howdy, howdy, Oля. 3,000. Are there 3,000 people now? Wow, fantastic. Ed Marth, I was in the USSR in 1982. I remember a grocery store with bruised apples and some tins of fish. The rest of the store was empty. I do remember a small kiosk that sold nothing but shoelaces. Later, most of those stores, they morphed into kiosks. If you were to visit Russia in 1990, 1991, 92, you would see kiosks only. Basically, there were very few stores, and this is how people started making the first money. They would open a kiosk, they would go and buy something wholesale, sell it retail, make minuscule amount of money, but hey, you know what? No one knew what to do back then, and that was like one of the first steps. And thank goodness that Russia got over that period. Perhaps it was necessary, I don't know, but it was done, so I thought. But it's coming back. Now it's mandated. Charlie B, Pacific Beach, California. Howdy, howdy. Miriam Dwenger, I am German, I can't understand it too. May the government is afraid to become into war. I don't know. Shirley Mackey, you wait until someone sponsors. Joy is here. Great to see you. Thank you for coming back. I hope all is well. E, do you think it is a move to undermine malls financially or a desperate attempt to stimulate Russian internal and local economies? How do you stimulate Russia's internal local economy like that? By installing a tent or a kiosk or a car, selling things off your car hood. You think that really seriously would give a boost to the economy? Now, I tell you what would give the boost to the economy. If Russia would stop all military actions today, it would be saving lots of millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of dollars per day. That would really boost the economy. If Russian government would stop regulating small and medium-sized businesses, that would boost the economy a great deal. But not installing freaking kiosks right next to shopping centers. Okay. I hope that I answered your question. Thank you, Wanda. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Great support. Thank you. I appreciate it. Elsha, lost for words. Makes two of us. Diana Smith, great to see you. I listened to Vlad Vexler on Patrushev's speech. One thing he was talking about is that the corporations were the source of all evil. The kiosks may be in part the response to that. I've got to listen to Patrushev's speech, and then I would like to watch Vlad Vexler's explanation of that. Interesting. The latest I heard from Patrushev on January 9th, he said that Russia was not in the war with Ukraine. Literally, he said Russia is not fighting Ukraine. Puzzled me by his words. Damien da Silva, Germany still suffers from the sins of the fathers. They are noble people, but hamstringed by their past, unfortunately. One of the things that back to Uzbekistan, I'm telling you, it's freaking winter. Cold inside, cold outside. It was so nice in Dubai. It's summer. There's just fantastic weather. This Russian style winter is happening in Uzbekistan right now. And let me tell you, none is prepared for winter in this country. They have like meager heating systems here. They have great air conditioning systems in every single house and apartment, but heat, not so. Anyway, one of the ways I admire Germans for, one of the things, is that they went through a terrible crash of their society. And I'm talking about Nazism, fascism. But what happened when they lost? They started a war and they lost. What happened right after? They admitted, they took responsibility, and they started changing as the society, and they started changing, trying to fix things that they had done. And from the country that everyone hated, the Germans back in, mid 40s, early 40s, when the war was being fought, they became to Germans that everyone admired. So not only for their economy, for their technological skills, engineering, but most of all for showing people hope, giving people hope, to show that it is possible to come back from such a huge fall, to come back and become a beacon of light for everyone. And Germany just shines. That's all I gotta say. I had some people reached out and said, well, Konstantin, there are still problems in Germany. Perhaps there are. But the progress that has been done is just absolutely incredible. So to me, Germany is just the beacon of light. And I hope that Russians will become like Germans. At least will get close somehow, sometimes in the future, because they're gonna need it. Oh, Cyril Bulow, how will that help the economy? My point exactly. It will not help the economy. Dave Strains, howdy. Lorna, thank you for posting Dave Strain's link. Definitely a wholesome channel. Joseph Rep, a family that left Russia had to return because Georgia turned them back to Turkey, where they stayed for a month. They couldn't afford to go anywhere else, so sad. His name was Alyosha. Konstantin knows him. Not only I know him, I have been in touch with him. I have offered help. I have explained a great deal about Uzbekistan, and I think that they have a pretty good shot here in Uzbekistan. Quite a few people reached out to me. It was incredible. Through comments, through one of the fellow YouTubers I helped before reached out and said, hey, this family needs help. And one of the supporters here also reached out. It is just incredible. These are signs from God. I take them as signs from God. And you know what? I contacted my two trusted counselors, Lorna and Mommy. We discussed that, and I made a decision to help this guy out and his family, kid and wife. We communicated on Telegram for some time. I answered the questions and I made my offer, but he said that he'd think about it. And then a couple days ago, we decided to go back to Russia. Pretty much that's the story. Jennifer, can you do the Cossack dance? No, can do. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me, in my Cossack abilities, but Cossack translates as free people, does it not? Yes, it does. PL Demergray, you're absolutely right. Cossacks were the tribe that lived for generations in the south of Russia, where Rostov-on-Don is, before Rostov was even founded. The thing is, there was slavery in Russia, and lots of slaves were trying to become free men, so they would run away from their masters. And they would run to one place, the river of Don. Once they reached Don, they became free men. Because everyone knew no slaves would be returned from Don. Once you made it, it's like the United States and Cuba. If any Cuban would reach American soil, get political asylum automatically. So, kind of in the old days, that's how it worked for slaves in Don region. Don Cossacks were very famous for that. Bruna, Crimea was Mongolian. Remember Genghis Khan? Crimea changed hands through generations like you're not gonna believe. If you look at Crimea's history, you'll be amazed. Jekyll N, thank you so very much. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Brian, Constantine, holy is the one who seeks balance and truth. Well, I don't know. Who is holy? Joe's Rames, watching Constantine can become an addiction, especially for people capable of critical thinking. Yes. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And those who welcome the truth. Thank you so much. You know what? That's one of the best compliments that I've ever received. Thank you so very much. It's motivating. It's very motivating. You can count on me showing up every single day. Was very hard in Dubai. I did 3 streams, I believe, 3 or 4 streams. I got so tired every day. I could barely make it until midnight. I was not capable of going in front of the camera, organizing stream and so forth. I just fall asleep. On most days, it wasn't midnight. It was well before that. Running around all day, physically trying to keep up with my son, 6-year-old. It's really difficult. Then wife wanted to do things. She wanted to do shopping and things like that. I wanted to do shopping, and look what I got in the community post for sponsors and on Patreon for patrons. You'll see what I got. So again, Jodes Rames, thank you so very, very much. Caesars regards the kiosk. Is it just a clumsy attempt to control the black market in Russia? No, it's not. There isn't much black market in Russia. You see, they've done such a great job eliminating black market because now it's easier to pay taxes rather than to try to avoid taxes, avoid the government. So there's very little black market. We're not talking about drugs, illegal stuff. I'm talking legal. Taxes in Russia are not high, 6%. It's much better to actually sell things and pay taxes rather than trying to mess with the government. So, no, it's just an attempt to take a general control over how people shop, what they can sell, what brands they can sell, what brands can be sold in Russia, and how people buy things. This is just the first foot in the door. Okay, they're gonna do the stepping stones. You just watch. Half Russian. Hey, howdy. My mother's family are from Novocherkassk. They're also Cossacks. Yeah, I know. I watched a new channel. You said that. That's how you ended up in Rostov. All the way from Algeria. Why did Russia ever have any private enterprise to begin with? I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm sorry. OHMS. Dubai is an interesting city. Marvel. I call it a marvel. City of Marvel. Marvels. Engineering marvels. Technological marvels. Trading marvels. Just this one of a kind place. Just theory. The more they want to control. I totally hands down agree with that. Shane Blith, frog in pot method. Yep, I call it stepping stones. You call it frog in the pot. You slowly raise temperature, and the frog does not notice and cooks. Yep. Koshkin Dom, Zaporozhian Cossacks on the Ukrainian grandpa side. I don't know. I have no clue. Susan Hodgick, thank you so much. Very much, Susan. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Every dollar counts these days, Thank you so much. Dave Strain. Say, Dave, you know what? Since I'm back, I have a little bit of a lot of free time on my hands. I will promote your channel through the community posts and some other ways. So stay tuned, brother. Velvet. I don't think the kiosks Konstantin is talking about are the same kiosks we see in our malls in America. No. Very different, trust me. The kiosks that you see in the malls, I don't know, just they're nice. You come by, you buy sunglasses, chocolates, or whatever. But imagine this. Imagine a 40 feet sea container cut in half. Okay? Then imagine there is a cut door and a cut window. So there's a way to get inside, and it's locked from the inside. And there are rebars. It's like a jail cell. The window looks like a jail and prison, a window in prison. And then there's a person behind those bars, and it has all kinds of stuff. Milk, bananas, just regular staples. Cigarettes, booze. And you come and say, well, I want some of this. You just give cash, no credit cards, nothing. You receive your goods. No guarantee the goods are good. There's no warranty. There's no guarantee that the milk is all right, the food is all right. This is they look ugly on the outside. Extremely hot in the summertime, cold in the wintertime. This is what the kiosks I'm talking about. Land of Plenty, thank you so much. When you're ready to come back to southern Maine, my lake house has room for you and your family, plus Dima, if I can help him. Thank you so much. Let me write down your name, Lando Plenty. And one of those days you might see me knocking on your door saying, hey, give me some of that room in the cottage. Thank you so much for your offer. I don't know. Hopefully I'll make it to Maine one day. Love southern Maine lake houses, by the way. We rented right after Labor Day weekend when all the tourists would go back to their states. We usually rented a lake house. In Maine, they're called camps. So rented a camp at different lakes, and it's fantastic. One of the best memories I have are from those days on the lakes. LEM, late greetings. It's okay. Better late than never. Howdy to you too. James Rhodes, Jones Rames. Sabotage on Russian railways is increasing. If you could send me links to where you get that information from, I haven't heard of that. I would assume something like that could be happening, but I don't know. Hasn't been any major crashes or anything like that. Koshkin Dome, inside Russia, but you call Tashkent home. Well, that is home. This is where I belong. This is a transit home, but currently this is home. I mean, what else do I have left to call home? Tell me. And it's not pretty, by the way, It just stinks. Lori Lane, howdy. Most US kiosks sell infomiracle type junk, and the sellers jump out and harass you. Well, trust me, American kiosks are nothing like Russian kiosks. Russian kiosk is basically look at the thumbnail of my stream. That's how Russian Soviet kiosk looked like. KG1, thank you. How much more can Russian people take before uprisings? If you know, learn the answer, let me know, because I'm asking the same thing. I think it's gonna take a lot, because I'll give you one example. Well, I can judge by my life, my own life, you know. Uh, hang on one second. This, my friends, is called back home, you know, back home. Running nose right away because it's friggin' cold in my apartment. Ugh. And there's nothing I can do because it's central heating. I don't turn it up, I don't turn it down. It heats up the way it heats up. Anyway, uh, I was gonna say something. Uh, gosh, I forgot. Oh, I was. There you go. I'll tell you my personal story. In my life, value, the biggest value for me is my kids. I would give my life for my kids, you know, if something would come up that would require it. I'd do anything for my kids. And I noticed this not noticed, I witnessed this situation in Russia when the buses, police and mobilization center came with buses to a Russian large village, like a small town. And they came to certain addresses like the main square, and there were some people, some, you know, they were being mobilized. Young men were being mobilized. They were really young. They were like in early 20s. They had served in the army before, and uh, I saw the recording on a mobile telephone made by good friends of us because they were just witnessing it, and they sent it to us. There were there were like 6 or 7 boys, I think, being mobilized, and there were plenty of relatives, moms, dads, you know, uncles, big families, and everyone was crying. Everyone was, even fathers were crying. You know, they were crying, but they were letting their kids go. They were giving their sons to fight for no purpose, you know, to be killed for no purpose. They were crying, they were feeling terrible, but they still were doing it. You see, if it would come to my kid, I would just, I don't know what I would do. I'd hide him, run away, you know, I'd secure him one way or another. But they were just giving their kids up. And what else can happen so they uprise? I personally don't know. And this is the question I keep asking myself. So if you learn, please let me know. I would love to know. There's a question from Amir. Is there an appetite for the old USSR amongst the general population, or other people done with it? Well, I'm done with it. My loved ones are done with it. Some people I know are not done with it. Amir, that's definitely a very complicated question worth an entire stream, but let me let me try to give you a short answer. Back in the when the USSR was still alive, our lives. Well, I still remember. I was born in 1976. Let's say this is a year of 1986. The USSR is still there. It's not well. It's feverish. There's lines everywhere. People are not well. Living standard falling. But I am 10 years old, and I have fantastic memories of that time. I remember my mom and dad taking me to Crimea for vacation. I still remember those days. I still remember those emotions and feelings I was getting as a 10-year-old. I remember how I was going to school. I remember my first day at school. I remember my friends there. We still remain friends with most of people from my school. Um, I remember, you know, how I fell in love for the first time and things like that. Very emotional things, and they were good. They were great, but they had nothing to do with the country, with the USSR. So what these people are trying to do, they're trying to replace the values. They're saying, "Oh, you remember how wonderful you were feeling in the USSR," but it's not because of the country. It's because we're human beings. We sometimes get excited. We sometimes get happy, despite all that stuff that the USSR was doing to us. So, and they're saying that's the USSR. We gotta get back to those good memories. We gotta get back to those wonderful days. you know. So they're replacing values, and people somehow fall for it. They're succeeding. Older people who are retired, who are in their 50s, 60s, who are not doing well, they still remember that somehow in their younger days they were doing better than they're doing right now. Because right now a lot of them are just in poverty. And they're saying, we want to go back to those days when we were younger, healthier, we had more confidence and so forth. And then that's how they're trying to lure people into this USSR thing. Jumping back and forth in the stream. Diana Smith, some pretty horrifying coverage on Sky News about the burial ground for hundreds of Wagner Group volunteers. Prigozhin has also put up a monument to hold ashes of the shoulders. A monument to hold ashes of the shoulders. I will not comment on that. This is the biggest craziness that is happening in Russia. Loneliness. I think in my stream couple days ago I mentioned that complete lack of law obedience in Russia. This is what it's called. I don't understand how fast, how we could get here so fast. It's like a free fall. Thank you so much. Terry Carter, howdy from cloudy Pulaski, Virginia, 41 degrees. Well, it's better than Tashkent, let me tell you. Tashkent is sub-zero. No, not sub-zero. Below freezing. Richard Burris, I don't know if YouTube presents awards for creators, but you can certainly deserve recognition. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. YouTube presents 2 awards. One is given when you reach 100,000 subscribers, which I'm going to double soon. But since Russia is isolated and, was it the right word to say, ostracized? Anyway, banned by everyone, including YouTube. YouTube does not sell. YouTube does not mail this buttons to Russians anymore, to Russia, so I don't have it. Although on paper I have it. And the next award is million viewers, which is not, million is the big time YouTubing. So thank you so much. At least I have a word from you as this message. Money is great, thank you so much, but the words are priceless. I've said it many times, and what you're saying is also priceless. So I have this imaginary award from you. Thank you. Jason Carney. I'm feeling like worse by the minute. What the fudge? Jason Carney, thank you so much for your support. Jason, I don't know what to say. Every time I see a super chat from you, I'm speechless. Thank you, thank you, thank you from me and Natasha. Yeah, we discuss it every morning. Thank you so much. And you have just given the sponsorship of Inside Russia to 10 people. Thank you so very, very much. My friends, let me couple questions and that's it. Doubling down on Richard Berry's comment. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The money is great, but this message is priceless. Joy, thank you so much helping me out. Yes, there will be a private live stream for sponsors and patrons tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. I guess so. It's at noon. Is it noon standard, Eastern Standard Time? I think so. Anyway, it's gonna be at 10 p.m. here. Hang on. Fudge. I hope I'm not getting down. I just arrived to Tashkent a few hours ago. How does it work this way? I was sick like a month ago. Aye, it's impossible. Terry, thank you so much. I am congested. I was fine when I started the stream, and I'm congested now, like son of a gun. Ah. This tea doesn't it's not like radiated or anything like that. It doesn't have polonium. I bought it at a regular store. They didn't know who I am. My friends, I gotta wrap it up. Maybe you are allergic to something. Your tea. I was drinking tea in the same quantities in Dubai. I was doing fine. I'm just allergic to cold weather and snow. This is what I'm allergic to. Oh, please, somebody bring me to Florida. Dubai has the same weather right now as Florida, Central Florida. Paracetamol. I'm not feverish. I don't have fever. Anyway, my friends, I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm just getting agitated of this whole thing. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so very much. Gonna be another stream tomorrow, private one for sponsors and patrons. And Sunday, I'm gonna come up with a very strong message. So please come back on Sunday, everyone. And if you would like to continue our conversation, but more in a private matter, I'll be speaking of. Well, me and Natasha, my wife, will be speaking of how we spent our vacation in Dubai. So please come back tomorrow. We'll speak more. I would like to finish this stream with a prayer as usual. please join me. Thank you so very much. Let's do it. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables. Thank you for putting roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy. And let us show them the way. Let us give us wisdom so we bring them up as people who will make this world a better place, who will never engage in any war. Please, dear God, help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has suffered so much and people have suffered so much. It just needs peace. As soon as possible, please reach out and help people who are responsible and people who are capable of making decisions to stop the bloodshed. Please show them what has been done, show them the tragedy that people have gone through, so these people get terrified and make decisions to stop the bloodshed. Thank you. Please help everyone who has been affected in Ukraine. Send everyone an angel, so every single person is kept out of harm's way. Please help my country, Russia. Send an army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords led by Saint Michael to get rid of that demon and demons that have hijacked my country. Make it run by the angels, make it shine, make it good, make it peaceful. Thank you, dear God. Please help those who are traveling. Send them safe travels. Help those who are seeking for asylum. Send help and good people their way. Help those who are hungry, sick, homeless, whose fate is faltering, who are jobless. All people who need your help, please send your help. Surround them with your help. Send everyone an angel and a shining from above. Please give all of us peace, so we live in a peaceful world forever. There are a lot of tragedies happening right now besides Ukraine and other places in the world. Please help people who need your help. Stop the bloodsheds and affect people who can stop them so they understand the right way. They learn your name and they learn about you and they learn the right way to live. I would like to ask for pregnant women. Please reach out to every single one who is trying to make a decision whether to keep their babies or not. And reach out and talk to every single one so they make the right decision, the right choice. Thank you so much for bringing us into this community. So this community has become like a real one, not just a virtual one. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing us to come here and pray together and call your name. Thank you. Please help everyone who's praying along with me and or just watching us pray. Help everyone, answer everyone's prayer, and make everyone's wish come true, please. Thank you. I have a list of people who need your help. I would like to ask for them, and I'm asking everyone to join and ask for them too. They are Wayne, who is fighting with 2 kinds of cancer, Shirley and Debbie, Jen Allen, Finola, Lisa's son and husband, Lars Henrik's mother, the Highwayman, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Outlander and family, Joy, Charlize and the family. Enjoy every minute. May Father rest in peace. Lars, Susan Marshall, Bulan, people who died, please help. The relatives of the people and families of the people who died in the attack on Dnipro. Please help Boss Seven, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Igor, Janine, Michael Milkevitz, Marlene, Paul Binz, Rudy Kaisley, Richard, Valerie M., Dirk Misler, James Rhodes, Terry, Brittany S., Lars Henrik's father. Please have him let his soul rest in peace, please. Hannah and her children, Richard Burris, Angelic at Life, N2K, Scan family's grandson, Grace, Barb, Randolph, Deli, Arkady, Yuri, and everyone who's in Mykolaiv, Ukraine, Harry's family, Verlinda's niece, Ian, James, Doug, Rafaela from, Anna, Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gibby Hyman, Donald, Deborah, Lisa's son, Jade, Allison Dave Wears, Terry Scrugg, Janice Burgess, Maureen M. and her sister, Mr. Hanson, Heidi, Bob, Tony, Kayleen, Rob, Umel and Jennifer, Matt, Ashley and family, Mr. Dean Spooner in his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, all the parish of that church, Lisa Kubrian, please send her strength, Jacob, Adam Oliver, Treasure, Kyle's wife, Grace Philosophy, Maggie, Carmen's sister, Vladislav and his father Sergey, please send Sergey speedy recovery, Susie Myler, Gina and Wayfarer, EMS paramedic Liz, Karen from Maine, Lori Miles' husband, Sherry, Layla, Philip's mom, and there are a few children I'd like specifically ask you about. They are Cadence, Maverick, Sebastian, Coulter, Theo, and Buddy. Also would like to ask you for all children of Ukraine who have been affected by the terrible tragedy that is happening, and all children of Russia, and all children in general, in other countries too. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for giving me another chance. It's good to be back. It's not really good to get sick again, I hope. This is just some minor thing. Tomas Miklos, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. It's huge. And please come back tomorrow for a private stream for sponsors and patrons. My way of saying thank you. And you're awesome and you rock. And at the end of every stream, you know what I say? Carthago delenda est.